One of the key things when you identify your destination or create your pathway is figuring out how you're going to get there. That desired route is usually something that is one of the first things we try to figure out so that we know the pathway that we're going to follow. We're going to talk about your pathway and the desired route and a little bit about what it is today on this episode 752 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom.
Bob, how are you?
I'm doing well. We're recording this, so unfortunately, people, your comments, we will see your comments, but we will not put them in the program today. Apologies in advance.
And I'll at least try to respond to them. Bob is on vacation, and he has promised me that he is not looking at social media.
I said we, I didn't say I said we. So that means you in this case.
But you're not going to. So you could have just said me.
That's right. Okay. Well, tomorrow when we record it and Wednesday when we record it, I will say you.
Okay. This is going to get confusing, I have a feeling.
No, it's not. It's Monday. Happy Monday. We just can't talk about our weekend because it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about that, is that it's harder to do celebrations when you're recording a couple of days in a row, to think about, like, what am I going to be celebrating on next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? We haven't thought really about or talked about that little obstacle.
Well, we could skip it.
We can't skip celebrations.
Well, there's always a general celebration, right?
I guess we could think about that.
I mean, I can celebrate the fact that the technology allows us to record these so that I can actually take a couple days and not have to be up at 7 a.m. and do this.
You could have saved that for today's celebration.
That was today's celebration. I just did early.
We're not there yet. Don't mess with the order. You did that last week. And
it was a lot of fun.
Look where that took us. All right, everybody, good morning and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast, where each week Bob and I have a conversation around a topic. Actually, all month we've been talking about your pathway. And this week we're going to talk about the desired route. Today we're going to focus a little bit on what it is, as I mentioned in the opening. And as we go through that conversation, if you have thoughts or ideas that you would like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments below. The comments of whatever social media you happen to be following us on, because we know that it'll add value to our show, even if we're unable, because we're recording it, to share them in as a part of the broadcast. We will, as we mentioned, comment and provide thoughts and ideas and feedback as well. And then at the end of that conversation, Bob and I will each share our one thing, our today's antidote, that thing that we hope will help you figure out how to take your next step forward when you might be stuck, uncertain, or just unconfident about what to do next. And you're looking for something to give you that confidence, or some system that might be able to help you move forward and achieve the success that you desire. And of course, if you have a one thing you'd like to share, we would love for you to share that as well, because we know that it might be exactly what someone else is looking for. So please feel free to share and comment as we go through the conversation. Prior to that, as we preluded just a minute ago, each morning, Bob and I share our celebrations. So Bob, what are you celebrating today?
It's hard for me to come up with something, but how about the technology that allows us to do these programs and record them sometimes so that I can actually have a couple days away from it and just relax and not have to be up and functional at 7 a.m. for a couple days. Even though I know I'm old and I'll probably be up like at 5:30 or 6 o'clock no matter what.
Even without a cat bothering you?
Oh, good point. That's a good point.
And if you turn off your phone, you won't have an alarm.
Oh, there won't be an alarm set. I can assure you of that.
So you probably won't be up at 5:30.
We'll see.
We'll
You
see
never
how
know.
I'll have to report back.
Guess
on
I have
how
to see
your
how
time-
tired I am the night before, right?
I guess that'll depend.
I could be out dancing, doing karaoke, stand-up comedy. There could be all kinds of things.
I might stick with the dancing and the karaoke.
Okay. Fair enough. So what are you celebrating today, Tom?
So I'm going to celebrate, even though I'm curious to see how it'll go. This will be a test for me to see how my week goes without also having to get up and make sure that that we do this show. So I'm going to celebrate the fact that on Monday I won't necessarily need an alarm clock to make sure that I get up. Although I'll probably have a dog that'll be whining or in my face that'll want to go out. So likely I'll still be up early and can watch and maybe listen. I haven't really ever done that, so maybe I'll
Really?
participate Monday. Not in the moment, not when we've recorded. I make sure that it's running, and then that's about it.
Oh, well, you've seen the couple of times I've done like the live commenting.
Running commentary, yes.
Yeah. That's a good. You should try that. It's a lot of fun.
We'll see. Maybe it's a possibility.
There you go. Okay.
All right. So now that we celebrated, Bob, let's dive into our conversation. Do you want to kick us off talking about the pathway desired route and what it is?
Yeah, that's a weird phrase. I gotta say, the more I see it and hear it, the more it confuses me. But I think what we're really getting at is the idea that you can't get somewhere unless you have a plan, and unless you know where that place is that you're going. So your desired route is how you get there. So first off, you need to know where you're going. Last week we talked about your destination and the pathway to your destination. So this week, it's what's your desired route. Of course, my desired route when I want to fly to Florida, say, is a direct flight. No stop in Atlanta, or one flight I looked at, you went to Chicago and then to Florida.
Those are fun.
Seemed kind of silly to go all the way west and north to come all the way south. And there was a 2.5-hour layover. Now, I am planning to take that flight. By the time you all hear this, I hopefully will be in Florida for a couple of days. But my plan is to take a direct flight Saturday morning, early in the morning, and get there in 2.5 hours. That's my desired pathway to my destination, Tampa, Florida. If for some reason there's a mechanical problem on the plane before it takes off, or the pilot's not available, could very well be that my desired route doesn't work, and I may have to take a flight to Atlanta or Chicago or Dallas, and then go from there to Florida. My destination remains the same, but the route is going to change. And in business, we have the same thing happen. I thought that mailing letters out would generate enough business, but that didn't work. So now I'm going to try holding a big event in my brick and mortar store and try to get people into that event. A 10th anniversary celebration, or a first day of February celebration, whatever it might be. Come up with something. But the desired route changes in that case. So you've gone from the desired route to a different route. And so often the businesses I see that have long-term success are the ones that are able to adapt and shift more easily, recognizing this is the way we desire to go, but it doesn't always work that way. So it's a really important tool to have that desired pathway, because that's your starting point. If I don't have a desired route to get to Florida, I might have taken a cruise ship. I might have could walked. Yeah, that would take a little while. Mm-hmm. But that is, I'm going towards the destination. If I'm going southwest, I'm getting to my destination sooner or later. So having a desired pathway, really a desired route to get on that pathway, really can be valuable.
Yes, I would agree. And I wasn't sure that you were finished.
I was.
Step on you. I think that one of the things that when I think about it, to really break it down for me, is the desired route is that route by which you've examined all your knowledge, experience, and perspective to determine what you think is either the path of least resistance or the path that allows you to leverage the things that you feel are in your skill set.
Wow, that was good.
What do you think about that?
Here, I tell you what, Tom, I'm going to give you something new.
You're going to add that to our show, right?
I am. Yes, the bell.
Every time I come up with something, you're going to ring the bell, or you do?
Yeah, what the heck?
I'll leave you in control of the bell.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. That's one of the benefits of taking the time to actually measure and evaluate the steps that we've taken in the past, is we gain some sort of insight or some sort of knowledge. That, and this might be part of your knowledge, is that a direct flight is maybe the best way to ensure that you don't lose your luggage. It may also be the fastest route. It may also, though, be the one that gets delayed the most or that costs the most.
You just like to mess with my trip every chance you get.
No, I think it's the same with anything else, right? I mean, we've got, like, when you go into a meeting, you've done a meeting. If you've done a meeting before, you at least bring some knowledge, experience, and perspective to it. And your desired pathway in that meeting is, okay, here's my agenda, and I'm going to walk through my agenda.
Yep.
And given what you know in the past, you would be like, okay, this is the way I want to lay out my agenda. This is the way the questions are going to go. And that's your desired route for that meeting. And it's all based on things that you've gained in the past. The challenge is when we do something we've never done before, we don't always have that knowledge, experience, and perspective. So sometimes we lean on others to gain some of theirs, or we just try to the best of our ability to make that decision. And I think so often, because the route is usually not exactly the same, it might be similar and not exactly the same, that it is harder to figure that out sometimes. And that desired route, while it worked in the last instance, isn't necessarily going to work in this instance. All we can do is attempt it, given this is the best that we knew at the time that we took it. Someone out there might be like, hey, here's a secret. They have private jets that are flying there all the time. They're never delayed. They're always on time.
And they have extra seats. And if you talk to this guy, you could probably get one for $50.
Right. They're always looking to just fill the seat because it pays for part of the gas.
Yeah.
And that might be something that you're not aware of until someone else shares it with you. And so the desired route now is something a little bit different. And you might look for another way to go about this. Or other people might say, if you wait till the absolute last minute, the flights go down. And you're taking a risk.
The cost goes down, not the flight goes down. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
And so this might be a new desired route. And so I think, and one of the challenges, we'll talk more about that. Sorry. Tomorrow.
I told you.
I know. We'll dive into challenges tomorrow. Bob shared with me before that we should do challenges first, because I typically want to dive into the challenges.
And you said no.
And I said, no, let's make sure people know what it is. And I'm going to stick with that. So I'm going to hold off. So I think that's one of the things. I think that oftentimes people don't leverage their knowledge, experience, and perspective, and they don't think about that when they go. Frequently they will, and not always. One of the things is if you haven't gone that route before, or even tried to achieve that destination, is that all you can do is create a route that you think is most desirable.
Well, you can draw on your experience, right? And your knowledge and your perspectives from other things you've done and extrapolate. So it's not like you're completely clueless. And I think that's how a lot of times we feel. Oh, I don't know how to do this thing. Well, usually the thing that you're trying to do, you've done something similar, or you've done something that you can say, oh, okay, I can kind of do this. Like I was making a recipe last night and the second page of it was missing. It's like, okay, this is interesting. I'm halfway. And so I just drew on my experience cooking other things, and it turned out fine. It wasn't exactly what I anticipated it being.
Sure.
But it tasted fine. And thankfully it was just me eating it. So it could be lousy and I would tolerate it.
Yes. Yes. All right. Anything else you want to share? Or do you want to dive into your one thing?
No, I'm ready to dive into my one thing.
Okay. What's your one thing around the desired route and what it is?
I think we have to have a desired route, but we have to be willing to recognize that it may not be what we think it is in the end. I can very seldom think of an experience I've had or something I've accomplished that went exactly as I expected. There's always something that changes. And I think being aware of that, being open to that can really be a key to staying closer to your destination.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure you were finished. I really try not to step on you. And then sometimes I'm like, oh,
Do you want to try some hand signals, like we close our hands and open our hands?
No, thanks. That's okay.
Oh, I know some people do that and it works really well for them.
No. I like to think that I'm unique. And so sometimes what works for others isn't necessarily what's going to work for me. Something to consider.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I think when I think about it, one of the things you said earlier, I think is something that struck me around this. And I think so often one of the things that gets us stuck and maybe lacking confidence is when we think we haven't done anything like this before.
Mm-hmm.
And so we struggle to determine what our desired route would be. And rather than trying to go back and draw on past experiences, we throw up our hands and say, well, I don't know how to do this. And we're unwilling to take a moment to go back or to have, and I think this is where really having someone else to bounce these ideas off of is helpful. Is often they're a little further removed from it and they can ask you questions like, well, what other recipes have you made like this? And if you were thinking about what is in this recipe you're trying to create, what might be the missing link based on what you're thinking about? If you've already added this, and this, likely these are some other things that might not be there. And I think oftentimes we get frustrated with things we haven't done before and feeling like we don't have the quote unquote perfect route. All we have is the desired route based on what we know at the time that we attempt to take it or to at least map it out. And I think what's funny is I think we're always could get a lot further than we think if we actually stop to take the time to consider what other things, what other knowledge experience that we do have could really add value and at least get us taking the next step and probably a few more than that along that desired route. The other thing,
that was good.
Thanks. I was going to say the other thing I would add to that too is that sometimes I think we feel like we have to have the whole pathway down, the whole route down. And sometimes I think that
in ink, right?
Yes, yeah, completely laid out.
No pencil, no.
Right, we're not going to change it. And I think that there's the opportunity sometimes to just take a step forward and start making progress and see where that gets you. I had this situation happen to me once. I was going to a lacrosse game as I officiate lacrosse. It was a college game, so it was out of town. And I pulled up my phone. I put in the address. I thought I had my phone plugged in to my car jack. So I'm driving and I'm like, wait a minute. The saying no battery. I was nowhere near like a gas station to go buy one. So I'm driving along and eventually my phone dies. I have no idea where I have a sense of where I'm going and I'm at least on a route to there. I can't call anyone to find out what's going on or to say, hey, to my partners, I might be late because of this. And so I just kept driving. I stopped. I tried to buy one. It didn't work. Nothing seemed to be going right. So I finally said, I'm going to...
Not a phone, a charger.
A charger, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So I kept driving. And I was like, you know what? I think this is what I can do, given what I know. And I'm going to get off someplace where there's a gas station. And again, I was running late. Fortunately, I pulled up to the gas station and there was someone in a car next to me pumping gas that I said, hey, do you know how to get to this place? I think I'm nearby and I'm not 100% sure. And they provided directions. They also were kind enough to hand me they had an extra charger in their car. So they said, here, why don't you take this charger and
Wow.
use it? So I plugged it in, and eventually it got going while I was starting to make routes, and I could finally call my partners and say, hey, I'm on my way. This is what happened. I'll be there shortly. So I think sometimes, we rely on other things that help us determine what our desired route is. And sometimes things happen that we don't expect, like your phone dies.
Yeah. Or someone gave you information that's not accurate.
Correct. Or they didn't know.
Right.
Like she could have, the woman could have been like, I have no idea. I'm driving somewhere else. I just happen to stop here to get gas.
Yep.
So I think that, there is the desired route. And I think there's the opportunity to sometimes leverage what you knew. I knew kind of where this place was. I remember briefly looking at the map.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew about how long I thought it was going to take me. So it allowed me to at least get close.
Nice. That's a great story. What was the place you were going to? I'm curious. Bucknell.
No, Emmanuel. I think it was no.
Sorry, I shouldn't have asked.
No, I should have been able. I should be able to come up with it. I can't remember. It was a place in PA.
Okay.
It was near Westchester and over that way.
Okay, so outside of Philly.
Yeah, so that was what I knew. I was like, I know this school is outside of Philly. It's on the northern side. I was already on Route 30 or whatever, so I knew kind of the direction I was headed. And but I was nervous the whole time. Like, I'm not going to get there. And it was a playoff game. So it wasn't like it was just a random every day, weekend delay. Yeah, it was one of those things. So it was interesting.
Okay. Wow. I like it.
All right, everybody. If you have your one thing that you'd like to share, please feel free to put it in the comments because we know it'll add value to the show. If you happen to be listening to our podcast, we know there's no opportunity to share your comments there. Please join us inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If you're not already a member, it's easy to do. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then ask to join. You've got a couple of questions you can answer, and then you can become a part of our growing community where we are providing people with information, knowledge, experience, and perspective that'll help them give special trainings to give you more confidence, to help put together systems to be in place. And then an opportunity for you to connect and engage with others who are trying to do the same thing. So we look forward to seeing you inside of that group. If not, we will see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time for our next episode of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegading you.
It is worth it.
I forgot that part.
Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.